You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. As Roland Martin Unfiltered. By going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com, you can make this possible. All right, folks. Black girls in D.C. say that the enforced dress code is unfairly targeting them. Of course, an analysis was done by the National Women's Law Center. Joining us right now is the author of that report, Nia Evans. Nia, welcome to Roland Martin Unfiltered.
Thanks, Roland.
All right, tell us about this report. Why are black girls saying the dress code in D.C. is unfair to them?
Sure. So right now in DC and across the country, Black girls are missing out on an education because of what they are wearing and because of what they look like. And they're sick of it. That is why we wrote the report. So right now, Black girls are being suspended because of dress code violations. In Washington, D.C., my home, Black girls are more than 20 times more likely to be suspended than white girls are. And it's not because they're misbehaving more. It's because they get targeted and punished for really minor and subjective offenses, things like looking mad and dress code violations. Black girls are tired of being stopped in the halls, of having their bodies over-scrutinized. They're tired of being told that they're a distraction, that they need to change to avoid tempting boys. They're tired of this, and they're taking action.
And so how are they taking action?
Sure. So last year, we co-authored a report with 21 Black girls in DC. We found all of these problems, similar to the ones that I just outlined, and they took action. They organized protests. They organized campaigns. They talked to their parents. Parents started to lobby schools. Administrators and educators had to come together and respond to this really amazing groundswell of activism that was led by Black girls. They wrote this report in April of 2018, and a year later, the report that we just released outlines all of the work that they have done in Washington, D.C. to fight this. So they have been working with their school principals. They've been working with their parents to really convene conversations about how dress codes target Black girls and about the policies that they want to see instead.
What has been the response from the school district?
So largely, we've seen Black girls be leaders, really take a leadership role on this. And in some cases, they've been successful. So we outlined in the report a few girls who organized a lunchtime protest, who got their school to walk out of lunch in protest of the dress code. They were tired of there being more rules for girls. They were tired of there being rules that were really rooted in racial stereotypes. They were tired of missing class because of the dress code. And they succeeded. The principal had to come to the table and have a conversation. And he started a community dress code task force that ended up with students being able to rewrite their school dress code. So there are some examples like that where we've seen students take action and school leaders really respond. But more often than not, we've seen students bring this issue to their administration. We've seen them organize protests. We saw in one school, Black girls organized a head wrap clapback because girls were getting in trouble for wearing head wraps in school. And so a group of girls said, you know what? This is who we are. This is authentic to us. This is not a distraction. We're going to wear head wraps in school. And they lobbied their administration to change that rule. And the administration wasn't receptive. They didn't change the rule. So we've seen some examples of students really taking this issue, and we've seen adults respond to them in good ways. But we've also seen many schools not respond. And the district, Washington, D.C. as a whole, is not responding in the way they need to. Even though Black girls, again, as I said, are more than 20 times more likely to be suspended for minor and very subjective offenses in school, DCPS, public schools, they've barely treated this like an issue.
Nia Evans, National Women's Law Center. We surely appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Thanks.
Monique, I want to go to you. I mean, I think about the story we did last week of the biracial sister in Alaska who was disqualified because one of the judges said that her butt cheeks were touching, and so therefore, you know, the swimwear was inappropriate. And we find out that she's biracial. She has curves, and it was a school-issued swimsuit. We see other examples of this all across the country where Black girls are being sexualized at early ages, and again, things are being said about them which are different from white girls the same age.
Right, and then those very same things, the white girls that aren't getting it said about them, the white mamas are trying to be like that. Listen, it's cultural appropriation in the adults, right? But then with the young girls, we are not just over-sexualized, but we are just prevailed upon every place that we turn. So young black girls aren't safe in the streets. Young black girls aren't safe in the supermarket, aren't safe at the movie theater, and are not safe at school. So we can put the same uniform on two girls of the same age. You have different body types, and not that it's inappropriate or that it's overly suggestive in the way that it's worn, but just because it actually fits. And they have no idea how this affects a young woman's image growing up. I have a young black girl who is 13 and fierce and gorgeous and got way more mouth even than her mama, if that's ever possible. No. But she was rocking a curly fro to school today, and she is powerful, and all I am trying to do is save her from the madness of this world that would make her feel bad about things that as soon as she gets a little bit further down the road, she's gonna go, oh wait, but y'all wanna be like me. So my message to the black girls is stay in the race, sister girl, because the thing that they hate about you is the thing that they're trying to cover up and suppress in you. And mamas, let's stick together and stand up for our girls the way they did in this instance.
You know, Roland,
a daughter got more mouth than you. Oh my God! Go ahead,
named
Juliana.
her Grace just to make it safe.
Oh Lord.
well, that was her cover. That was clearly her cover. Roland, you know, the history of the over-sexualization of black women is as early as our coming to this country, as enslavement, as the notion that no one was even ever charged with raping a black woman until after the 1950s. And even then, when we were raped, we wanted it. And so while I support Monique 1,000%, I want to meet little Miss Grace because I want to see who got more mouth than her. But the other piece of this that's really important is that while we support our girls, we must hold these school administrators accountable. Yeah. I mean, I was looking at something that was online about this particular story, and you have these stupid white people writing, well, you shouldn't wear a halter top to school. Well, nobody said that anybody has worn a halter top to school. These girls are wearing their clothes. They're minding their business. But the subjectivity is such that whatever a black woman does is going to be over-sexualized. Whatever black girl, sometimes these girls as young as 10 or 9 years old, sex is not on their mind. But these schools, because of their anti-black, not anti-race, anti-black bias, choose to see black women through a lens that's dismissive. And so you can look at black women and kick them aside and say, and they're not women, they're little girls. I remember, Roland, the police officer in Florida who grabbed the young girl by her braids. She had a baby, grabbed her by her braids. And I was thinking, if that was a blonde, would that have actually happened? And so we know where we are on the totem pole, black women, and that's why we should never have another Mary Turner. Mary Turner being the woman who was lynched because she made noise about her husband being lynched. And so we have to, in the name of Mary Turner, never again be silent. Yes, Miss Grace needs to run her mouth, and so do we all, and we need to continue. And I'm just grateful to Nia Evans for lifting this up because it's been happening for a long time.
Yeah.
Roland, I have to preface my comments with saying that I support any type of activity that resists the oppression of black girls and controlling them. But what puzzles me, particularly when I heard the sister talk about women being looked at sideways for, quote, looking mad, black males are going through something very similar and often are accosted for looking mad, killed for looking mad. There's also dress codes and sexualization of black males. And I wonder why we're not working together. I think that it's important to focus on particular issues because they need particular focus to resolve them when they're peculiar. But when they're similar as black people, I am just puzzled by that, males and females, black people, who are both targeted because of how they look, their hair, like we talked about the sister or the biracial person who had the quote unquote body issues that she had to be confronted by. Now we know about the guy who had the hair cut off, who had the locks, the wrestler. So we're going through similar things, and I'm concerned about us shadowing each other instead of shining light on each other so we can collectively resolve these issues. It's concerning me. And also,
Eugene.
I know that...
Well, who says we're not working together?
Oh,
one second, Eugene. Eugene.
So the thing is this, in this particular situation, like many others, and predominantly black cities with predominantly black elected officials, predominantly black school boards with predominantly black school officials, you got to take control. The parents got to take control. We cannot continue to allow our children to be weaponized and harmed, right? We cannot continue to allow our children to be assaulted by oppressive figures and oppressive structures. And so, it's at the point where if the city of D.C. wants to misapply or misappropriately apply a dress code, then I think it's about time the parents of D.C. children need to take back control of their school system.
I agree with that.
That's a good idea.
All right, folks, back to that Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment. All right, folks, you've heard me talk a lot about marijuanastock.org because I want to keep you informed of investment opportunities that make sense. And we've all watched the growth of the cannabis industry. A recent report by New Frontier Data estimates the global cannabis market at more than $340 billion. We know that marijuana legalization is sweeping the country state by state. We also know that marijuana has a good cousin, the hemp plant, with a much higher concentration of CBD. That means hemp gives you all the medical benefits of marijuana without getting you high. Until recently, hemp farming was practically illegal in the U.S. and heavily regulated by the DEA. However, the 2018 Farm Bill changed all of that, making it legal to grow hemp CBD in the U.S., creating one of the largest commodities worldwide. They need land to grow all the plants, and that's where our good friends at 420 Real Estate come in. Their business model is simple. They buy land that supports hemp CBD grow operations and lease it to licensed, high-paying tenants. That's right, there are hemp CBD landlords. And you can get in on the action. Now, what 420 Real Estate has done is offer this special deal for the folks who watch Roland Martin Unfiltered. Originally, the minimum investment level was $500. Now you can invest in this crowdfunding campaign for as little as $200 up to $10,000. Again, this is a $340 billion industry that is still growing. You can participate with as little as $200. To invest, go to marijuanastock.org. That's marijuanastock.org. Get in the game and get in the game now. Now back to your Roland Martin Unfiltered video.